Feels good, man. Have you ever wondered if the people around you are who they say they are? Well, that's the exact question Bernard Boriscott should have asked before bending, unbeknownst, before the most beautiful femboy spy. Yes, viewer, if history is our teacher, that woman sitting beside you, on her phone, mostly ignoring this video, may be a perfectly seasoned femboy. I'm Lord Edgington of Goonsberry, and this is the Great Femboy Heist. Let's dive in and start some shenanigans. Before we really dive in, quick pitch to like and subscribe. I'm so close to 150 subscribers. I've been stuck here a while since I hate asking, so please? Moving on.
Round 1.
This is the tale of Shipei and Bernard Boriscott.
Boursicot.
Either the most convincing femboy spy or the most gullible Frenchman. And a quick trigger warning here. Due to Bernard's Frenchness, there will be frequent references to France. I'm sorry, there's nothing I can do about it. Bernard and Shipei's romance was so epic, it inspired the 1988 play by playwright David Hwang, M. Butterfly, starring John Lithgow as Bernard.
Hello.
Boursicot.
It won the Tony Award for Best Play, inspiring a movie of the same name in 1993 starring Jeremy Irons as Bernard. Clips from this movie I'll reference as they become relevant. Bernard began working at the French embassy in Beijing at 20 years old in 1964 as an accountant. Here he met the then 26-year-old She while they were dressed as a woman at a Christmas party. She dazzled Bernard with their performance, and the two quickly began a sexual relationship. Now, She was a biological male, and he convinced Bernard of his false gender with a feat doctors later marveled at. He was able to ascend his testicles into his body while tucking it to approximate female genitalia, and by it, I mean his peanuts. Now, the jokes really write themselves as to how a Frenchman couldn't tell the difference between the bussy and the pussy. But there is some exculpatory evidence as to how Bernard might have missed this. For instance, She insisted on making love in total darkness for Chinese modesty.
Take your clothes off.
But I thought you understood my modesty.
And there are some conflicting reports on whether or not Bernard had ever been with a woman before. According to his diary, he'd only been with men, which is pretty typical for most Frenchmen. But maybe the bussy did squirt though. But now that I've given him some minor excuses for not noticing the obvious, it is also important to note that Shipei frequently dressed as a man in public with Bernard. She's explanation for this behavior was that he was an only child and his dad wanted a son, so he had to adopt a male persona. Despite dressing as a man in public, she performed as an opera singer and actor, always playing a woman in operas and plays, which Bernard attended. And these performances reinforced Bernard's perception of She's womanhood. However, the slightest cultural research would have been a dead giveaway. Women traditionally did not perform in any Beijing operas, plays, or any performances.
Why in Beijing opera are women's roles traditionally played by men?
I don't know.
It's because only a man knows how a woman is supposed to act.
And if any further evidence was still needed to demonstrate how clueless and naive Bernard was, one evening She told Bernard about an opera she would be performing in, The Story of the Butterfly, a classic Chinese folk tale. It's a sort of Romeo and Juliet for China. It's a dramatic tragedy about a girl who disguises herself as a male in order to attend school, where a classmate falls in love with him, not realizing he's a she. The opera ends with her initial unknowing lover committing suicide and her following him in death, where their souls become butterflies to fly away together.
Oh man, that's deep.
Now, explaining the opera She performed in serves the dual purpose of pointing out the irony of Bernard not noticing the extremely similar events playing out in his own life, while also being a segue into Bernard's cartoonishly ironic nickname for She, calling She my butterfly. And this was the initial inspiration for the play and later the film's name, M. Butterfly. In 1965, about a year into their affair, She claimed to be pregnant and produced a son he purchased from a doctor, which he named She Do Do. And this is where I have to stop and wonder out loud if God was just shitposting that day. I mean, pee poo and do do, like poo poo pee pee. I mean, come on, did my nephews write this? And the Frenchman's name was Boursicot?
Boursicot.
Oh, close enough. Did they have sex 6-7 times, but only in Ohio? Shit, I really am unk status now. Despite my complaints of the real-world consequences of the Season 8 Game of Thrones writing, Bernard accepted Shidudu as his son, even finding resemblances to himself and preferring the nickname Bertrand.
Round 2.
For the next 12 years, Bernard and Shi maintained an on and off relationship. During this time, Bernard embraced his bisexuality, having relationships with both men and women, eventually settling into a long-term relationship with another Frenchman named Thierry, whom he hoped to form a family with himself, Thierry, Shi, and Bertrand. But right when hope struck Bernard, so did the CCP. At the height of the Cultural Revolution, the CCP discovered their affair and used it to pressure Bernard to provide them with documents related to American troop movements in Vietnam, among other espionage. The Chinese Communist Party limited Bernard's access to both Shi and Bertrand, insinuating they may be harmed without his compliance. Over the next several years, Bernard supplied the CCP with 150 to 500 documents of varying usefulness. In 1979, Bernard was recalled to Paris. He hatched a scheme with Thierry to get Shi into France. They acquired a cultural visa for Shi. The plan worked, and on October 9th, 1982, Shi entered France on said visa for a 3-month period. Shi quickly became the toast of Paris, performing long-rehearsed Chinese operas to an unfamiliar crowd. This attracted the attention of the French Internal Security Agency, who took note of a Chinese national living with a member of the French Foreign Office.
Finish him!
On June 30th, 1983, Bernard was arrested on charges of espionage. Shi was arrested at their shared apartment later that day. During the ensuing trial, the judge ordered a medical examination of Shi, proving his male gender and revealing the nearly 18-year-old lie that Shi had been telling Bernard. The national attention, humiliation, severance from his son, and overall disgrace was too much for Bernard. He attempted suicide by slitting his neck with a razor blade, but failed. In May 1986, the trial began. Bernard's lawyer argued that most of the documents he had furnished to the CCP were of trivial importance, which there is some truth to the mostly trivial nature of the stolen documents. In fact, Bernard's CCP handler, Kang, had actually requested Bernard stop spying due to how tedious and inconsequential most of the documents were. They were often the transcripts of cables between the French embassy in Beijing and the French embassy in Mongolia, commenting on the stark cultural differences, such as how apparently Mongolian men were getting really into fedora hats around this time. The jury still sentenced both of them to 6 years each for espionage. However, they would spend less than 1 year of that sentence before being pardoned in April of 1987 by the French president, with the reason being to preserve French-Chinese diplomatic relations. Their pardoning did not repair their relationship, though. They had infrequent contact until Shi's death in 2009, where Bernard was quoted as saying, "I am free." Shi tried to repair their relationship many times, but decades of lies, humiliations, and covert gay sex had destroyed his chances of fixing it. Now, I should have mentioned this earlier, but the point of this video was not to disparage Shi's preferred gender or trans people in general. In fact, Shi, until their death, never confirmed that they were trans. Bernard's post-trial rebuttal to their relationship was based on the lie that Shi had told him about his genitals, not the fact that he was actually a man. So what did we learn from this story? Well, besides the fact that women aren't real, trust, but verify. Trust is an essential element to any relationship, and any healthy romantic relationship I've ever been involved in, my girlfriend hasn't had an issue if I've needed to verify or confirm the truth, nor have I ever taken issue with her looking into something that didn't quite add up for her. Again, trust, but verify. And yes, believe it or not, Lord Edgington of Goonesbury canonically does fuck. I know, I was shocked too. But I digress. Bernard had many chances to notice something was off, but he let his ignorance, his naivete, and Shi's gaslights win over his logic. And that cost him his dignity, his freedom, and his reputation. Thanks for watching. I'm Lord Edgington of Goonesbury, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.